Hey guys, welcome back. This is video number 2 of our Shadow Systems CR920P series that I got going on here. I just recently took this bad boy to the range and I fired the 200 round break-in period with it. I did put the Holosun 507K optic on there, ran it with the optic, and I am here to show you guys the results of that range time. But before we get into that, I want to show you some actual range footage of me shooting the gun. It did shoot incredibly flat, and I was incredibly excited about that. We'll go over that in a little bit. Keep in mind, my buddy did not show up to the range, so I was not able to have somebody on the camera. I had to put the camera nice and low and kind of look up into my chin, so it's an absolutely terrible angle. But here we go. Eject. If you haven't done it already, please subscribe to my channel. I am really trying to grow this to 1,000 subscribers so I can start getting some money for some of my videos here. I would really appreciate that. I really appreciate you guys all giving me the watch time of all my videos. You guys have been awesome. You guys have been doing amazing comments down below, and I really appreciate that from each and every one of you. Thank you. All right, getting into the firearm. Now, a few things. Remember the two problems I had with this gun, which was the grip around the gun and the mag release. Neither one of those were a problem. When I was firing strings of fire, I didn't even notice the grip digging into my hand. Didn't notice it at all. When I was doing mag reloads, like I had it locked back like this, and I put the mag in, I was closing it, not a problem. That did not dig into my skin at all. If you can tell from some of my videos, every single time on the last round, this thing locked all the way back every single time. And I have never had that with a micro subcompact gun before, ever. I always am riding the slide release, and I fire that last shot, it recoils, it ejects the round, and it goes right back into battery. And then I hear that click, the dead man's click, right? Actually, believe it or not, that was a big surprise on my 200 round break-in period, that it locked back every single time, which was absolutely fantastic. This gun fires incredibly flat. Incredibly flat. My dot from my 507K didn't even leave the window. I was just firing. I was hitting my little tiny circles I had on my targets. I was hitting that circle anywhere from 20 to 30 feet every single time, and my dot never left the window. It was absolutely amazing. I really, really enjoy shooting this gun, and I cannot say that about some of my other smaller firearms that I've tried. This gun feels huge in my hand when I am shooting it. When I am shooting it, it feels like I'm shooting a Glock 19 or a Glock 19X. Okay, it just feels like a big gun, and it recoils. You can't even feel the recoil. The felt recoil on this is like almost zero. Okay, I'm just shooting it, and I can see the hole in it, and I can still see the hole through my optic because it barely recoiled. at all. And that's fantastic for a gun this size. I absolutely love that. One thing I did notice is the barrel did heat up relatively fast, and you kind of get that a lot with compensated guns, that the barrel does heat up quite fast. So I think I was only about 80 rounds, and this entire front part of the gun was just blistering hot. I had to rack from the back the rest of the time. Like, I couldn't press check or nothing like that because that barrel was smoking hot as I was firing. Okay, now, the moment everybody has been waiting for. Malfunctions. Was there malfunctions? Yes, there was a few malfunctions in this firearm. I had one complete failure to eject. So I fired the round, it recoiled back, and the casing was still sitting inside of the firearm. So I opened it up slowly, and I found it was just a casing, and I racked it all the way back. No problems there. I had 2 stovepipes, so it recoiled back, and the casing was sticking out of the top of the gun. I had that happen twice, which was not that big of a deal. There was one time on one of my reloads, I don't know, maybe I didn't rack it all the way back far enough, I am not sure, but I racked it back and I had a dead trigger. Well, I kind of looked, I kind of pushed it forward, and I noticed the gun wasn't going forward at all. And I looked on the inside, and the casing, the bullet was sticking out that far, and it wouldn't seat all the way down. So I stripped the mag completely out. I racked it back, and it was still stuck inside the barrel. I kind of had to take my finger in there, or I had to shake it. I think I ended up shaking it loose like that, trying to get it out of there, and it eventually fell out. This was before the barrel was hot, thank goodness, because sticking my finger in there when there's a hot barrel, not a great idea. But that was it. There was 4 malfunctions, and they were all within, I would say, the first 50 rounds. Okay, the second half of my strings of fire from round 50 all the way up to round 200, there was not a single malfunction. Just as a reference, I was using 124 grain Blazer brass ball ammo throughout the entire break-in period. I heard there was some issues with the 115 grain not feeding reliably through this firearm. I did not have that issue. I mean, I had the few malfunctions, but I do not think that was ammo related. I think that was just gun break-in tooling problems on this firearm. I did fire a few of the SIG 365 V Crown, they're 124 grain. I did fire, I think 5 or 6 of them through this gun on a string of fire, and they all functioned reliably. They all went through the gun. There was no feeding issues whatsoever. And the reason I did it with this ammo is because this is probably some of the cheapest ammo you're going to find. I believe it's like $1 a round or something like that for some defensive rounds. And I just wanted to see if even some of the cheaper rounds that it would feed some defensive ammo reliably as well. I did that after the 200 round break-in period. But yeah, I'd say the one issue I have with this gun, and I knew I was going to have with this gun because of my big hands, is the trigger. I found that I like to use the pad of my finger, my pad, when I'm pressing the trigger, and I kept finding myself sliding all the way across into that groove, into your knuckle when I was firing. And what that was doing is that was making me pull the gun a little bit to the left, and I was noticing that. So I had to consciously keep the pad of my finger on there, and it was just incredibly awkward when you're firing that way. Anybody with big hands knows that. Okay, so I am not quite ready to completely recommend this gun yet because we did have those malfunctions, and I would like to do another range visit up to 500 rounds to see if any of those malfunctions disappeared. And that is the big thing when you're carrying. I think everybody out there that carries Glocks, carries CZs, carries all these guns, You carry them because they're incredibly reliable. And having malfunctions early on is not a big deal. A lot of guns, when they first came out, like CZP-10C, my situation, I got a CZP-10C when it first came out. Every single round in the first 7 mags was a failure to eject. Failure to eject. Every single time, every round for 7 mags. I almost took that gun and I almost threw it across the field because I was so mad, because I was so excited, I was so hyped about this gun, and then it had all those problems. Well, after the 7th mag, it slowly got better and better and better, and eventually I didn't have a single malfunction after that. And for some of you out there, that can destroy a firearm for you. If you have that many malfunctions right off the bat, you can't trust it, and you go off and you sell it or you get rid of it. And I don't want that to happen to this one, because I think this is a perfect size firearm for me to carry, especially with my bad back. I just took it out around town today. We were outside for roughly around 4 hours. I was carrying it in my waistband in my Glock 43X holster. I know it kind of sticks out of the bottom a little bit. That didn't bug me. But for 4 hours. And I barely noticed it was there. And that's the kind of gun I'm looking for, is a really light type of carry that I barely know is there and that I'm comfortable wearing everywhere. If I can avoid carrying those big size firearms, I am totally going to, if I can help it. And I'm telling you right now, this gun has a lot of things going for it. And I hope in the next couple visits, I don't see any malfunctions whatsoever, and I will be one happy camper, and I will be carrying this every single day for the near future. One thing I didn't do with this gun is because this range doesn't let you do that, I was unable to take the holster out of concealment and then press. I was able to go from low ready to up, or high ready to down, and I was finding the dot perfectly fine both ways. However, I just was not able to take it from concealment and come out with it. I was unable to practice that because of the square range rules that they had at my range. But that is something that I can just practice outside with no ammo in the gun, and I'd be good to go there. But I am incredibly impressed with this gun. I hope you follow me on my next update. I believe it's going to be my 500 round review update. So far, I absolutely love it, and I hope you guys all stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching my videos, and I hope you guys are getting something out, especially of this gun, because it is an amazing micro subcompact firearm to be carrying. Remember to train hard, get strong, be a protector. If no one said I love you today, I love you guys. God bless you all.